Thank you, everyone. Sorry I was late getting here. It was like planes, trains, and automobiles. I went to the old venue. I didn't get the memo. But I'm here, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world. The video you just seen that I had made, one of the things in there you need to know is God has had his plan in all this, and the 2020 election, the significance that will go down in history is the most important election ever. Because everything that's been revealed now, everything that's revealed is going to come down to next weekend. I'm telling you, the event we're having is going to be live streamed to the world. It's called the Moment of Truth Summit. And what I'm going to go through, I'll kind of go through on stage here. What I'm going to do when we open up at 9 a.m. on the 20th, I'm going to go through how we got here through my eyes. But it's going to be a little different. It's going to be, how did we get here when everybody knew right after the election there was something serious wrong? I mean, all these deviations that was wrong. And we're going to go through how they had to have Fox News and Newsmax under control. They had to silence them because they went Fox on us. That's what I call it now. Okay. A couple of significant things that happened back then. I'm going to do an example. Let's say you had Fox News, okay? Let's just do one deviation. So Michigan. In Michigan, everybody heard about the 106,000 votes that came down in the middle of the night, right? Well, what did they tell you all? The big lie was, oh, those mail-in votes, they all went for Biden, right? Well, if Fox would have been around, if there would have been something like this, old Sean Hannity would have said, wait a minute, everybody, this just in. Those mail-in votes in Michigan were counted on the morning of the 3rd. So where did these votes come from in the middle of the night? You see, nothing was questioned back then by media we trusted, okay? There were 4 hearings across this country. There was 4 hearings, I believe it was, Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and I think Michigan. Those hearings were 2 lawyers, Rudy Giuliani and Jen Ellis, okay? Now, you know who showed up to air them, these important events? A little station called RSBN. You know, they're big now. And OAN. You know, where was Fox? Where was Newsmax? Where was any of the media? Okay? But this is what I'm going to tell you, that all backfired on them though. Because if back then, things like that, if that wouldn't have happened, and one of the biggest things too that I'm going to tell you that happened is all the judges back then, what does the media tell you? They said, all these cases, they were looked at, and they looked at the evidence, there's nothing there. That was the lie. But the truth is, every single judge kicked it down the road on something called standing. You're all going to know that word, standing. That just means they don't have to look at it, so they're going to kick it to the next judge or not at all. They're not going to look at it. But that was also a miracle, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? So back then, the judges had fear. This is what they had. The judges had fear. They had families, they had neighbors, they had friends, you know, and we were in an anomaly, which we still are in history. We're an anomaly in history. This stuff that we had been to a place, we got into a place where nobody's ever gone before, ever. And we're living it right now. But back then, so you're in a different climate. I want you to remember this when I get to this part. But the judges had fear. One judge in the United States looked at the evidence and it threw it under the radar over in Antrim County, Michigan. Okay? And what did they do? That judge actually took a glimpse. First of all, this lady deleted the machines. Fact, she even admitted it. We have a tape. But then he looked at the evidence and said, oh, you shut that book. It was suppressed. He never ruled on it, okay? Then, what I'm telling you, and I'll say it again, one of the biggest miracles was the January 5th, And everyone's saying, okay, here we go. And I told this, and I want you all to really understand this, why this is a miracle. They overplayed their hand. I sat there, if I'm a marketer, I prayed. I was in Georgia on January 4th with our great President Donald Trump. And I sat there, I go, wait a minute. This is, I have to pray because everything that was happening in November and December, it didn't make sense. You turn on Fox and Newsmax, they're talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. Who cares about Hunter Biden's laptop after the election? It wasn't going to get your president back in. They had it planned. It was deflection. It was deflection. Let me tell you, they are the art of deflection. Now let's talk about, and I'm going to fast forward, I'm going to tell you how they're marketers, but they're stupid. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Afghanistan, the worst decision made in human history, or one of the worst. Everybody was talking about Afghanistan, and what happened 10 days later that nobody talks about anymore? You know what they did? They had Biden come upstairs, and they said, if you have 100 people in your company, you have to take a shot. And everybody went, well, we're not going to do that. And they forgot about Afghanistan. Do you follow me? That was all a ploy, so everybody would point over here and go win this fight. Of course that was going to be beaten down. But everybody went to fight this fight instead of talking about the horrible thing of Afghanistan. Now, so this is what I'm saying. So back on January 4th, when I prayed in Georgia that the Democrats, that they would steal both those senators. Okay, and you go, why did you do that, Mike? Why did you pray? It's your fault. Well, I prayed. Because if I was their marketer, I always look at it from that side. I'm going, what are they thinking? What are the evil thinking? And when I say evil, I'm talking the CCP, the deep state, the uniparty, the globalists, them. They just happened, the Democrat Party happened to be on the side of a fixed game, so they just joined on in and said, this is great, okay? If I was their marketer, I would have said, give them back a Republican so they shut up about this election. Because they were caught, and they know they were caught. It was caught, and they're going, and everybody kept bringing up, even though they had the media attacking, and everybody attacking, and Fox and Newsmax wasn't talking, that would have still been the right play. But they didn't. I said, and if they'd have done that, if they'd have gave back a Republican senator, I'm telling you, maybe not all of you, but most people would have said, Mike, you guys, come on. We got the Senate. We'll get him back in 2022. Red wave. We'll go campaign harder. You couldn't campaign harder than our great President Donald Trump. Period. Nobody could. But when they stole both those senators, you remember where you were all standing. And they woke up the whole part of the country, at least. They go, oh, now what are we going to do? Hey, wait, maybe I heard rumblings of election crime. I guess maybe I should look into that. But they had a plan, a safety net, that if they don't shut up, they didn't worry about you shutting up because they took both senators, and what did they have? January 6th. And January 6th, whatever went on there, we're not going to go into that for hours, but that charade and this stuff, or whatever you want to call it, what went on there, that planned out thing, I'm talking the January 6th committee now, what a charade. I told them, hey, I'd love to come to your little party. Even though I wasn't there, I'd love to come and tell you. They don't call me, because they're not going to call me, because I'm going to answer every question with, get rid of the machines, okay? But on January 6th, what happened was on January 7th is one of the most significant dates, and it's being overlooked. That's the day we made it through. That was the day they tried to turn out the lights forever on our country. Because once you take the voice of anybody speaking out, it's over, like Nazi Germany. Okay? And what they did that day, 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed. And not just Americans here, all the way to Australia, around the world. Anybody that spoke up, churches around the world, if they had spoke up about this election, they were deplatformed off Zuckerberg's Facebook, Jack Dorsey's crooked Twitter, Vimeo, YouTube, all of them, these platforms. They were silenced. And the rest of the world was in fear. They're not going to put a thing up there. I thought I was getting deplatformed on Facebook, but mine was left up. Nobody would like my stuff anyway because they were afraid. They wouldn't even take my phone calls, my own friends. Hello, I know you're there. But then a significant event happened also on this, was on February 4th. We're going to talk about all this next weekend, and I'm going to tell you about next weekend in a little bit. On February 4th, something very significant happened because they couldn't completely silence us on January 7th. I got evidence on January 9th. I look at deviations every single day with my pillow. If some podcaster does better than another one or whatever, or they do better than what they normally do or worse, we dig into, we find out what's wrong because you have to have a different input to give a different output. That's just the way mathematics work or anything works. You can't, if you have something that goes on and on, same thing, and you see this deviation, you find out why it happened. Well, and that's so during the time of November, December, one of the things that bothered me were the statistics of all the non-residents that voted in all the states. It had never happened before to that magnitude. So my home state of Minnesota, there was thousands of non-residents that voted that weren't from Minnesota. Well, I'm going, people are genuinely good people. They didn't go, hey, let's all get together and commit a felony and let's head over the border here and vote. It doesn't, this nonsense, okay? And this was every state. The first one I looked at was Nevada, because Nevada had a rule, you have to be a resident for 30 days in order to vote in Nevada. And Nevada's was over the top. I'm going, these people are genuinely good people. So when I got something on January 9th that explained it, I knew it had to be computers and machines. That's the only way you can cheat at this massive numbers, okay? Well, so what did they do on February 4th, very significant date? Did you all see absolute proof? Okay. Well, every day that I was getting attacked, and now, and I'm going to bring this back to the media, okay? Every day that I was getting attacked in the month of January of 2021, when I started going all in against these machines, you had your Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's, Costco, all of them, just one after another, canceling my pillow. And you know what? I had one focus. When that would happen, the bad media, they all have my thing, they would call me up and go, Mike, you lost 4 more retailers, how do you feel? Did you hear about the machines in China? And I would just keep going. This is what I did every single day from morning till night. But it was getting the word out. Now I want to tell you something though. There's the conservative media, okay? Now this is your Newsmax, your Fox, and Salem Media. If y'all know who Salem Media, I'm not going to name your names. I told them I wouldn't name them on stage. But I'm going to, they better speak out this week because I'm telling them now. But I'm telling you, back then, none of them, Salem was them, but they were going like this. It went something like this. It started with Newsmax. Mike Lindell, you lost this retailer. Can you come on and tell us how it was? Or tell us about cancel culture? Well, so I get on the media, and this was on Newsmax. And I get on there and they ask me questions and I start talking about machines and the guy flips out, he rips his microphone off and says, you can't talk about that on Newsmax. Well, what did you have me on your show for? If I can't tell you why I'm getting canceled, what am I supposed to say? Boo, boo, I mean, it's crazy. If you can't say why you're getting canceled, why have me on your show? What's worse, everybody? I lose my money or I lose my voice, okay? We lose our country if we lose our voice. That's one of the reasons you're here, that they have these great events. One of the best marketers in history was Hitler's henchman Goebbels. He convinced the whole country with propaganda they were better than us, and then they put fear into the rest of them. You know, it's a process, and they almost won. I mean, that was it, you know. But they did win as far as the people's voice there. They took away their voice. So that rest of the world had to go in, you know. But anyway, so I'm going to tell you the significance of February 4th, and it affects all of us, everyone here, and I ran on 10 days, this was 10 days before the impeachment trials, okay? So only time I had a little bit of fear, and I've never told this yet. This is the only time, because I only have fear of the Lord. Nothing, you know, I figure nothing else matters. If I'm wrong and if we lose, we all go to heaven anyway. We win either way, right? The believers. So, but I sat there. I had heard that they weren't going to show any evidence at the impeachment trials. I thought it'd be like the OJ trial, right? You get to go in there and put all the stuff up, you know. And I heard from a friend of mine, Senator, said not only that, they were very worried that they were going to impeach because there was no evidence, right? So I sat and I go, you know what? They're going to come for me. I'm going to be the first one hung. And I sat there and I prayed to God, and I got very clearly do a movie. So we threw together absolute proof in 4 days. It was a miracle. Now, when we did that, I expected, the next day, on February 4th, remember this movie was launching at 9 a.m. on February 5th. So what happened on February 4th was the start of a thing called lawfare. Smartmatic, who has one county out in California of voting machines, sued Fox News. Now why is that significant? Because from that point forward, no one has been able to go on Fox News, Newsmax, Salem Media, any of them, and talk about machines or the election crime. Now you think about that. They took and silenced the people that we trusted to watch, right? They silenced them. Oh, they had OAN, but what did they do to OAN? They're owned by AT&T. They pulled the rug out from under them and took it. And they lost 3/4 of their audience because they took them off DirecTV, which they own too. But anyway, so when they did that, this is where we're at. That's where we've been at in lawfare. And the reason I'm going to tell you this, then they sued Dominion. Dominion got in the game. Remember, I asked Dominion to sue me because nobody was talking to me anymore. I had to keep going, sue me, Dominion, sue me, Dominion, sue me. So this, you got to hear this part. I knew if our voice went down, when you're really over target, they don't talk to me. They're not talking to me this last 3 weeks. They're not talking to me, you know why? Because this Moment of Truth Summit is coming up next week and it's going to be over. Anyway, so they go completely silent. They went silent on me, and I go, how will I get back in the news so we can keep getting the word out? I go, I know, if I get Dominion to sue me. Why'd they sue everybody else, but they hadn't sued me? I'm going, that's not right. That's not right. So I'm going, okay. So here, I'm sitting there. I go, you know what I'll do? I'll call Swin. He actually is kind of almost a friend because he works for the Daily Beast. All the horrible journalists on the left, they've almost become friends of mine because I've gotten to know a lot of my witness too. I make them read my book to try and get into the Lord. But then every time that happens, then they make an article and their bosses won't let them print it. So I have to tell them, write some bad stuff or they're not going to print it. Seriously, this is what I go through. Now, I tell Swin, I said, Swin, why don't you hop on over to Dominion and be a real journalist and tell them to sue me? Why are they suing everybody else? That's not right. So Swin does. He goes, I'll do that. And he heads over to the Daily Beast. He goes, yeah, are you going to sue Mike Lindell? Swin calls me up. He says, yep, they're going to sue you. I said, well, okay, great. Write an article about it. So he writes an article about this, right? Now, Dominion doesn't sue me for 3 days. And so I call up Swin, and I go, Swin, you need to get over to Dominion and say, chop, chop, or you're going to be known as fake news. He did, and they sued me. But the point I'm making is, what we've been up against is it all comes down to our voice. We have had information, we've had everything for a long time, but it wasn't the right time. And then also, what we've become, since they did destroy our voices on January 7th, it's too late. It kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Events like this, that these guys are putting on, Clay and the general and stuff, this is what's helped get the word out and keep the word going in all of you, okay? But I want to say, so here, one of the things when I say God's timing, now believe me, since I've had stuff, I've been going, this is ridiculous. Why can't, nobody listened. The legislatures let us down. The government's let us down. The attacks, if you raise your hand, you get attacked. It's just like, we become a lawless society. It's basically lawless. Well, one of the things it's done is united all of us. And I want to tell you different things that are very uniting. One of the things that had to happen, they had to keep stealing elections or keep doing with the machines, or it would have been we wouldn't have had what we have now, and I would have thought, oh, that's behind us, quit talking about that, let's just move on, right? Well, I'm going to tell you some examples during these primaries. Only 7 that we know of were not in some way manipulated. 7 of the primaries. And these are, and let me tell you about the Democrat one, it's my favorite. This is down in Georgia, okay? And Georgia's the gift that state that just keeps on giving. But down in Georgia, crooked Brad Rassenberger, one of the most crooked people in this country, the Secretary of State of Georgia, and when I say this stuff, I've investigated. He's not a rhino, he's a criminal, okay? I'm telling you, Brad Rassenberger's a criminal. Sue me, Brad. Sue MikeLindell.com. You can save a little money, put it on a file. I say that to ES&S too, by the way, the ES&S machine. They can sue me. We're coming for you too, ES&S. Nobody gets to walk between the ring. So anyway, where was I here? The Democrat. So here we are in Georgia. 3 Democrats, right? Running on May 24th of this year, everybody. And this nice lady and her husband wake up the next day, and she had lost the night before, but they wake up and they look, she had 0 votes in her own precinct. 0. Now 0. Now crooked Brad Rassenberg goes, oh shoot, we should have at least gave him 2. They wouldn't have had a leg to stand on, right? If we give them 2, they would have said, I'm sorry, only your husband loves you. You don't have any friends. Seriously. So what they did, they did something pretty amazing, everybody. Here they come, they go, well, we gotta do something. They're onto us, Remember, these machines, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, just so you know that. Evil is evil, it's a uniparty, whatever that we're up against. Anyway, they opened up the machines. What? You mean you can look inside a machine and you can do an audit in 2 days? 2. They did this audit, and you know what they found? They found 3,762 votes for this nice lady. She went from 3rd place to 1st place. Okay, now, there's another lady, this one's even better. She's 2 counties over, I believe. And if I get it wrong, who's going to fact check me anyway? They're going to talk about me in the news. So I don't care. Even Alan Duke, the criminal Facebook fact checker, he doesn't even bother anymore. So here's 2 counties over, this lady. She's another Democrat. And it was a Democrat race, three Democrat primary. She got 1,600 votes. Now you're going, well, so? She wasn't on the ballot. She wasn't even running for office. Okay, and these weren't write-in votes, people. So crooked Brad Rassenberger has to waddle out to get over there and go make a statement with all these things that popped up in Georgia. You're going to see a lot more stuff next weekend, but here's what Brad said. there was a programming error. Okay? And let's say there was. Obviously there was. They put down a name wrong. You know, Johnny Bananas ran. Who knows? They don't, you know, this is crazy. So the bottom line is we have all these primaries that they took. One of them was very significant, and that was in Arizona by Kari Lake. Okay, you know, Kari Lake, hey. One of the things we're going to show you next weekend, besides the stuff I'm not going to tell you that's going to shock the world, even maybe Fox will go, I guess we should talk, you know. But Kari Lake, when she ran, now we have a way for our guys to watch as the election's going along in real time if it's machine manipulated or not. It's very significant, okay? We can tell in real time. So now here's Kari, and here's all the other ones, Mark Fincham and everybody in Arizona, right? They're blowing it out, right? They're winning, they're blowing it out, they're races. Well, Kari's one of the most beloved candidates in the country. She should have been way above them, right? Well, they were stealing it. And this is very important for all of you for this next election. They were stealing it, and they were stealing it with all the mail-in votes. We told them in Arizona, if you're going to vote, you go in person, and you go there, and you get, you know what, you're in person, because those are harder for them to do their stuff. They would have been caught easier, okay? Now, and we were right. So now Kari falls behind. I have her on the phone. It's 11 p.m. at night. She's behind by 10%. In a normal race, you're going, okay, how can she catch up, you know? But, so now think of this. These are mail-in votes. This is Republicans, right? It's a Republican primary. Okay, Republican primary, all right? All these other Republicans are blowing it out, the people's choice, right? And she's almost flatlining. Well, it stops at 11 o'clock and it flips over now. The mail-in votes are done counted. Or the mail-in, we'll call them mail-in make-believe names, okay? So now they're counting real votes. So now you're counting real votes, and Kari's taking off. At 2 o'clock in the morning, she was up by 12,000 votes, and you know what they did? They stopped the machines. Stop the machines. Okay? I'm going to tell you why this is so significant. So they stopped the machines, and then they actually, in Maricopa County there, they actually put stuff over the windows again, too. We have a videotape. It's insane. But let me tell you the problem they had. Everybody knew there was only about 96,000 votes left to count, and Kari was winning those at a 70-30 clip. And they were the same group of votes, so in other words, they're sitting in a room going, what are we going to do? I'm sure it went like this. Call Brad Rassenberger, he'll know what to do. So if they get old Brad on the phone, he goes, man, you should have shut the machines off before now, you know. And anyway, they shut them off, and as you all know, 2 days went by, and then they called the race for Kari. My point being is, and we're going to tell this, that when we do the call to action next weekend, it's very important in this next election, more than any time, no matter which machines we have gone or don't have gone or whatever footprint we're in, to vote in person. I can't stress that enough, and for all of you out there, I have millions now of trained speech watchers, you have to encourage everyone to vote in person. It's harder for them to manipulate and cheat, but and you can override the algorithms. Kari Lake proved that. She actually proved that. She overrode the cheat, okay, because they did not want her, okay. Now, so you have all this, and now I'm going to tell you, so we have all this new stuff that we wouldn't have had, and I can sit here and give you example after example. I was just with Sarah Palin. We were up in Alaska, and Sarah Palin, up in Alaska, they've got a new thing they're bringing in up there, the crooked thing with Murkowski, that she set this up, the crooked Lisa Murkowski. What she did, they're bringing in, it's called the ranked choice voting or whatever, ranked choice voting. Now everybody, that means if you're like in third place, Sarah already won out of 50 candidates. She won here, then it goes to another thing. Now she's got to win here, and you can take first and still lose very easily, because you can get all, the person that's in second might have more second place votes than you. You might be down here at 4 or 5. It's the most bizarre, crooked thing. It's another way to disguise through these computers and machines. But I told Sarah, like I told all the candidates, I said, you guys that have lost, there's many candidates across our country, they stole their primary. Tina Peters, Ron Hanks, these people, I could name more, but I'm not, there's a ton of them. But all of them will go down as Jody Heights over against Ratzenberger. They will go down as it was almost like, it's not going to be in vain, because we needed that, everybody. We needed that. Imagine if they would have done nothing and not touched those machines again, okay, and waited for the general. This just goes to show you how they're unified and they're evil, right? If they'd have waited and not done anything there, it would have been harder to have what's coming up next weekend to show the whole world you cannot have machines. They have to go. And we're going to have on the stage there, I'm going to tell you this, and I'll tell you what you can look for. This weekend, next weekend, does not fail. All the pieces are there. Everything I have, everything you've done, everything in general, everything that's been done in this country, everything you see in that video, all the grassroots, I deal with the hundreds of thousands of them every week. I talk to 50 states every Monday night. All of the sweat, all of the stuff, all the revealing is coming down to next weekend. It does not fail. There's only one way it fails. If I said I had a cure here to, let's say, cancer, 100% you already know it's a cure, how would it fail if you didn't take it? I'm telling you, the only way next weekend fails is if nobody watches. That's it. That's the only way it can fail. If you got one thing to do, you have to get the word out. We have 4 million people seeing the Cyber Symposium. We need 30 million people to see this minimum. Here's what we're going to have there, because this is our path back for our country. I really believe this. The first day, all 50 states are going to be on that stage. These are people like all of you. These are going to get up there and they're going to tell the current footprint of the state that they're in. And what that means is what their blocks have been, where their hope lies in their own state, what's happened in their state. I mean, these are interstate, it's not going to be long each state. It's basically showing you that this machines runs through it. Machines aren't, just because you're Ohio and won. Doesn't Donald Trump won, so you don't have machine crime? It's over, but we're going to do that. 50 states. Then we're showing a movie, Selection Code, a world premiere, free to the world. It's a movie that I financed, and that's going to be free. And then after that, I'm going to tell everyone you have to tune in tomorrow, which is Sunday. On Sunday, we are having the trial of the machines. And that's it. And when this airs, this isn't gonna be like Cyber Symposium. Okay, that was last year. This is all new. I'm telling you, it will shock the world. And then there's gonna be, after this, gonna be a call to action. And the calls to action involved, I'm gonna tell you, it'll be what you can do, what you all can do in your precincts, in your counties. We've started preliminary injunctions across the country to get rid of the machines. Well, the first one was in Arizona that Kerry Lake put up. And now I'm going to say the last thing with this. Here's where our hope lies. Well, obviously with God, that's number one, okay? And His plan, and I believe, with everything that let us down, our pathway, our last line of defense is the judges. It is. It's the judges, everybody. And you're all going, well, wait a minute, they let us down. You guys, the judges it was a different place we were in a year and a half ago. They now have this whole event that I'm having next week is for the audience, the people. This is tried before the people. So those judges, they have families, friends, grandchildren, children, neighbors, or whatever, okay? All them people, the judges need to know that they're behind, that the people are behind them to do what? To just be a judge. Don't kick the stuff out on standing. You need to be a judge and be courageous. Like there's over 40 cases in this country we're going to show there where judges have been brave. The one in Florida, look at the Florida lady that said, hey, masks are nonsense on airplanes, and they changed our world forever and got rid of those mandates. That was the judge. The judge that got rid of the 100, if you got 100 employees, you got to become a junkie at your place of business. No, The judge said no, nonsense, right? The Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade, right in the middle of all this. They got free. I really believe that these, and I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter who appointed the judge, whether it was, I have a horrible, horrible judge we'll bring up in Washington, D.C., with these machines companies, that sued. Oh, you're sued for $5.6 billion. Who cares? That's all just to push this stuff past the 2022 election, and you'll lose your country forever. But that judge there has said horrible things, and he was a Trump-appointed judge. Just now, everybody, an Obama-appointed judge in Arizona 4 weeks ago actually looked at our preliminary injunction to look at the evidence to get rid of the machines. He opened it up. He said, I'm going to look at it. So he opened it up to look at it. Now, no matter what he rules, because he keeps asking for more stuff, it's like going before a judge and saying, I have cars that the brakes don't work. So you have defective brakes, okay? Now, no judges would look at that. Think of it as defective machines, Well, this judge said, well, I'm going to look at it. Now, he's got to make a decision. Does he let Arizona drive? This is Arizona. Does he let them drive on cars with no brakes? If he does, then he's got to put in there why he thinks that it'll still be okay. And you know what? And if he does that, and if he rules the other way and says you're still going to use them, we learn from that. And the next one we got going right now is Alabama. We've got all kinds, every state we're going to be doing. And this will be part of the call to action. But what I'm saying is the judges are going to be courageous, and their people around them need to know that we as the people, all people, whether you're Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. If the machines are here, your elections have been selected, and you lose your country. Do you know 54, coming to end on this, 54 countries have already lost or are in process of losing their freedoms and everything to the machines. Venezuela, you're never coming back. I've talked to them before. They cry with tears in their eyes. They can never come back. You think they're going to vote out the machines? They're not. Australia, done. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Canada, really close. The truckers might have gave a reprieve for a little bit, okay? And they, I can't say it enough. If you get everybody to watch, and I will tell you this, if you know anybody from Salem Media, now's where I'm going to tell you this. Salem Media came to me, and they all know who they all are. Okay, I could never go on. No one could go on Salem Media and talk about machines. Well, when 2,000 Meals came out, that's not machines. You all know that. That's government computer or government cameras with people committing felonies on camera. Well, then Salem Media came to me. Now remember, they all sell my pillows, right? But they won't let me on. And they're all in rev share. Boy, when my pillow, when something happens like Walmart canceled me 2 months ago, it was a boom to them. Michael Lindell lost Walmart and my pillow. Buy more pillows. But they wouldn't have me on to talk about why Walmart did it either. Okay, that's Salem Media. Now, they promised me that they would report the one event. I said, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to want you to finally report the news and not be cowards like Fox and Newsman or whatever they are. Maybe Fox is in it. I think they are. That's my opinion. Yeah, they are. So now, with Salem Media, they came to me after 2,000 Meals. It's kind of comical. This is what we're up against for media. They said, Mike, can you believe it? Newsmax and Fox won't let us come on and talk about 2,000 Meals. What? I'm sorry, you mean they're canceling you? They won't let you talk about that. But you won't let me talk about this. You follow me, everybody? This event, this is right now, they're going to try and they're going to suppress it because they don't want the word to get out. I will promise you, you spread this word, I promise you, this will be it this next weekend. It will help save the country, and it will be amazing, and we'll get to this great place that we're going to get to, and all of it had to happen just the way it happened, to once again be one nation under God, unite the people, and we are in the greatest revival for Jesus Christ ever. Amen. Thank you all. God bless you.
One more time, let's hear it for Mike Lindell. All right, General Flynn, if I can have you come up here, sir. And Devin, can you pull up the picture? You know, Mike Lindell says a lot of things, and then he says things quickly, and there's a lot of facts, and sometimes, you know, I've heard Mike say there's more of us than there are of them. These are the protesters. And
that looks like Brad Rassenberger. And there's Alan Duke, the Facebook fact checker.
Now, I think we have more Canadian truckers here than they have protesters here. I don't know. General Flynn, I think we have some Canadian truckers here, some truckers. General Flynn, I'm going to pass the microphone to you here.
What we want to do, we got a couple other things to do, but I want to bring these truckers up and these freedom fighters. If I can have the freedom fighters from Canada. This is serious, people. North American Unity Tour. It's the North American Unity Tour. What? And we have Veterans for Freedom. Where's our Veterans for Freedom? Oh, right here. All right, Veterans for Freedom. I won't go through all their names, but we just want to say that we are unified with them. These guys have started an international movement around the world, and we want to just say thank you. So thank you all very, very much. Great to see you guys.
Freedom! Hold the line! Always hold the line!
I love it. Hey, I just was wondering, did you guys all get those pillows that I parachuted into Canada? I love it. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything that you did. I mean, we saw what happened up in Canada. In fact, we were talking about this yesterday with this group. I mean, what's going on in Canada is just pure tyranny. It's pure tyranny. And so, you know, we have to stay united. These guys have started an international movement, not only here in this country, but over in Europe and also in Australia. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of unity. There's a lot of happening, a lot of love being shown by these guys. And I just want to say thank you very much. We wanted to bring you up and say thank you. God bless. Okay. You know, I want to just, because I'm going to bring a couple other people up here to just thank. But first of all, I really appreciate everybody hanging with us because we got a couple other things to just talk about, and we're gonna bring this to a close. One of the things that we have been talking about, and Mike talked about this, you know, and I hope you were listening. It's about distraction. Distraction. They want to distract us. You know, when the Mar-a-Lago thing happened this past week that we've talked a lot about this weekend, this was the same time frame that the Afghanistan surrender occurred. So it's like they're masters at distraction. Do not be distracted. Be focused on what it is that we have to accomplish for this country, which is to save it. And you've got people like Mike Lindell. I mean, he's got to talk about the pointy end of the spear and fighting for this country. So we cannot be distracted. We gotta listen. We gotta fight, like what Mike just talked about what he's got coming up. There's going to be other distractions. Clay mentioned two today. He mentioned two, if you were paying attention. One was on this monkeypox thing, okay? There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out about this monkeypox. There's also this executive order, and write this down or think about it or go to Clay's website. It's Executive Order 14067. 14067, and this has to do with our financial system. Okay, I am very serious about this. We've been talking about this. Clay and I have been talking about this for a year. Executive Order 14067. Executive Order 14067. Go read it. 14067. Go read it. It is they are going to purposely try to change our entire financial system. So to me, that's like beyond a distraction. But there are going to be distractions because they absolutely blew it with this Mar-a-Lago escapade. They blew it. And they know it. And they really do know it. Their arrogance is going to be their downfall. And our ability to continue to show the truth, to put the truth out there through the right media, right? Through the media, that's why we had Epoch Times up here. You know, to talk about some of the media that's out there that is
that has maintained its integrity. I mean, Mike knows a lot more. I know a lot of these people in this world of Newsmax and Fox and CNN, all these people. We've been on all these shows over the years. And they have done the biggest disservice. Cash Patel was right. Our number one opponent, our number one enemy is probably the media, more so than anybody else. It really is. It really is. So be very conscious, be very careful, and be paying attention to what's happening with all these distractions. I will guarantee you, I will guarantee you a dime to a dollar that we are going to see another distraction here and something else. It may not be directed against Donald Trump, but it may be directed against us, actually, against the American people. So I want to make sure that I wanted to make that point as we get ready to close here. The other thing I want to do is I just want to say thanks to some other folks. We have a representative from the security organization, and the security organization is called Black Hawk Security and Investigations. They're out of Rochester. They're out of Rochester. So their owner is a gentleman. Is he here? Oh, right here. Oh, sorry, you down? Oh, Jan Abrego. That's great, terrific. These guys, without missing a beat, said, when we asked them, and they're out of Rochester, these guys that live down that way, got to come in every day here to do this, without hesitation said, we will absolutely support them. So without hesitation. And you've seen, these shirts around here today, and they've been providing us a lot of the security. So I just really, really want to say thank you very much for just doing that. Every morning I go into, there's a kitchen in the church. There's a kitchen in the church, and I always go in there, and they're always testing all the things. They've been helping us out quite a bit with all the people that have been coming in. And you all know, anybody that attends any kind of church, you know, you got it. It depends on the volunteers, right? The people that are willing to show up, and they're all in that back, and they're all back there in the kitchen right now, cleaning it up probably. But they've been taking good care of all the people that have been coming in and out of here that you've seen here over the last couple of days. And I just want to say to Pastor Paul, thank you, and to all the volunteers. There's many of them around here. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much. And Lisa, get back up here. I'm going to drag Lisa back up here because we only really met Lisa in the last couple of months, really. Lisa, I mean, this little gal, she is the one, you need somebody in the background that's like putting it all together. And honest to God, this gal puts it all together. I mean, when you need somebody to depend on, whatever, you need I call them sergeant majors. Anybody that ever served in the military knows a good NCO, a good non-commissioned officer. Here's a goddamn good sergeant major right here. She'd be an unbelievable. I mean, she gets it done. She gets it done. Doesn't care about credit. She does not care about credit. She's just a wonderful, wonderful personality and a wonderful person, and just been a godsend. Has been a godsend to us. Has been a godsend to us. So thank you so much. Thank you. And the last two I really want to thank. I want to thank Clay Clark and Vanessa Clark. And I don't know if Vanessa's still here. But this guy, Clay Clark and Vanessa, I don't know if that's down here. Yeah, sorry. I mean, they have a beautiful family, a bunch of kids. I mean, this is like in their life. All this stuff that you see, every single part of putting together an event like this, and this is the 14th city, right? We've done 14. We got a bunch more come up, and we're going to keep driving down. We're going to stay focused, right? We're going to stay focused. But I want to personally, and really on behalf of everybody that's been participating in this thing, thank both of you, because you guys have been great. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of people like this, we're so excited to be just part of something that is such an amazing thing. I think we're all blessed to be alive right now. As my friend Mike Lindell talks about, what a time to be alive. I mean, we are actually lucky that the kinds of things that happen that are waking up this country to what we are all about, who we are as Americans. And this couple right here represents the best of everything that we are. Okay, I'm gonna too much, but I love these phrases. You know, when in the course of human events. I love that. You know, this is the Constitution with the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. In this little tiny thing, this little thing right here, if you sat and you read it, it's going to take you maybe a reader like me, maybe an hour, most of you probably 30 minutes, right? The Declaration of Independence, it takes about 2.5 minutes to read. The Bill of Rights. I mean, this is why we're able to be right here. And I love it, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident. Right, that we're all created. 4 times the word creator is in the Declaration of Independence. 4 times. And we talk about the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's all we want. That's all we want. But in order to get there, we need these fighters like Mike Lindell, Cash Patel, all these people that have been up here for the last couple of days trying to bring to you. Really, and we are unapologetic about it. We are going to be unapologetic about the truth. Okay? So I just want to say thank you very much to everybody. God bless you, and God bless America. God bless.
Let's look here for America's General Michael Flynn. All right, now here's the deal. If you want to meet Mike Lindell, Mike's going to stick around. He wants to meet you. If you don't want to meet me, but you do want to meet my wife, we'll be in the booth over there. A lot of people say, I don't want to meet you. I want to meet your wife. Don't want to meet you. We'll be over there in our booth. And Mike, if people want to meet you, where are you going to be, sir?
I don't know, over here. I want to say, too, before I didn't tell you this in my speech, you guys download the Frank Speech app and watch that, Lindell TV, instead of Fox News. And also, I have the Frank Social app. That's the Facebook. That's my app, too. Get on that. We're all communicating there. Frank Social, Frank Speech, they're both connected. There you can get all your news every day. Roger Stone's on there, Steve Bannon, Diana Phil, Brandon House, I don't know if any of you... I mean, it's a 24/7, you're going to get educated. I'll come down over here.
Our one final closing prayer from our favorite pastor at Cornerstone Church.